Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I am different? Something is wrong with me. You look at the world, live among people, work, talk, smile, but deep inside there is always a quiet and anxious whisper, this is not everything. You are not here by accident. You try to drown it out with work, meetings, laughter, but it returns again and again. It does not let you rest. And one day, in the middle of an ordinary day, it flashes in your head with an unexpected question. What if I really am not like everyone else? Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, said, if you have this feeling, it is not accidental. Such people come into the world with a special purpose. These are chosen souls. They are not higher and not better than others, but their path is always different. They are a bridge between the past and the future, between the earthly and the heavenly, between the living and the dead. And the scariest thing is that the chosen themselves most often do not even suspect their role. How do you understand that you are one of them? Cayce claimed. The signs appear from early childhood. Remember yourself as a child. You sat among friends, but felt loneliness. Everyone was happy with trifles, but inside you lived other questions. You looked at the sky and asked yourself, why do people die? What happens to the soul? Why do we come into this world? Most children do not think about this, but you did. That was the first sign. Another sign is strange coincidences that seem to push you forward. You walk down the street and suddenly a déjà vu overwhelms you. You know this turn. You have already seen these faces. You clearly remember this moment, but in this life it never happened. The soul keeps the memory of past centuries, and sometimes this memory breaks out. Cayce said, chosen souls see unusual dreams. This is not just a fantasy of the brain. These are hints, training, exams. Cities appear there that are not on the map. People who have long been gone among the living. You wake up in a cold sweat and do not understand, is it a dream or a memory? But the soul knows, this is its memory. Have you noticed that the world seems to speak directly to you? Random words of a stranger suddenly become the answer to your question. A song on the radio plays exactly when you are thinking about the most important thing. Numbers repeat again and again. All this is the language of the invisible world. Cayce claimed, it addresses the chosen more often than others, because they must hear. But this gift has a price. The main sign of a chosen soul is loneliness. Even next to close people you feel emptiness. You try to share your experiences, but no one understands you. You share, and they think you are strange. You smile, but inside you feel sadness. Cayce said, this is normal, because light is born not in the noise of the crowd, but in the silence, where a person is left alone with his soul. There is more. The chosen are often saved by miracles. You should have gotten into trouble, but an accident held you back. You could have lost everything, but at the last moment a door opened. This is not an accident. This is protection. Cayce claimed, as long as the chosen are needed by the world, they are protected by a force stronger than human will. But at the same time they have to go through the heaviest trials, betrayals, losses, illnesses. Where others get everything easily, the chosen must fight. Cayce said, the higher the soul, the harder its road, because trials polish it like a diamond. Do you feel that this is about you? Do you recognize yourself in these words? Then ask the question, why me? And the answer, according to Cayce, is simple and frightening at the same time. The soul itself chose this path. It knew it would be difficult. It knew it would have to go through pain and tears. But it also knew, you have the strength. Edgar Cayce said, if you are a chosen soul, your life will never be simple. What others get easily, you have to tear out through struggle. It is as if you carry an invisible burden, and no one around notices it. People rejoice in trifles, laugh at nonsense, and you feel the heaviness squeezing your chest. You can smile, but inside there is a fire burning. And this fire reminds you, You have a mission. Cayce claimed, "This is not punishment. This is a test. A soul that came with a special task must be tempered. A diamond appears only from pressure. Light is born only through darkness. That is why the trials of the chosen are always harder. You may lose everything you love. You may be betrayed by those you trusted. You may fall ill for no reason and struggle where others walk easily. But this is exactly what makes the soul stronger. Remember your childhood. You were always different. You were drawn to questions that frightened adults. You asked, why do people die? What happens after? Where is the soul when the body sleeps? Most children do not think about this, but you did. That was the first sign. Cayce said, wealth, fame, and recognition are not enough for the chosen. Even if they achieve all of this, there is still emptiness inside. They understand. This is not the main thing, because the true purpose of their life is internal. They seek meaning. They seek light, and this search never ends. Another sign of a chosen soul is unusual sensitivity. You walk into a room and immediately feel the atmosphere. You see a person smile, but sense his pain. You hear words, but your heart tells you he is lying to himself. You feel another's sorrow as if it were your own. This is not a coincidence. This is a gift. Cayce said, such souls are open to the world. They absorb energy, and that energy can hurt. But that is exactly why they become guides. Have you noticed that your intuition is too strong? You know what will happen before it happens. You see a dream, and it comes true. You feel danger, and it really is near. Most people do not trust their premonitions, but a chosen soul must learn to listen to them. Intuition is a connection with the unseen. It is the voice that leads along the path. Cayce claimed, such souls keep memory hidden deep within. Sometimes it bursts out, in déjà vu, in strange memories that could not have happened, in the feeling that you have already lived hundreds of lives. You walk through a foreign city and suddenly realize you know every street. You meet a stranger, and your heart says, we have met. This is not illusion. These are echoes of eternity. But along with the gift comes the weight. People are drawn to you, even those barely acquainted. They share their problems, they feel lighter near you, and you listen, support, give your strength. But then you are left drained. Cayce warned, this is also a sign. You are a source of light, but light can fade if it is not protected. He said, the chosen have a special bond with nature. They feel the forest, the river, the stars more deeply than others. They can sit by the fire or watch the water for hours, and in these moments their soul speaks with the world. This is their way to recover. Only there do they hear the silence that heals. But the main question remains, why must a soul be chosen? Why endure pain and loneliness? Why walk a road full of trials? Cayce's answer is simple and frightening. Such souls come to lead others, with their light, with their example, with their choice. And here lies the danger. Many chosen doubt themselves. They do not believe in themselves. They think, I am weak, I am not worthy. They seek proof, run from themselves, try to be like everyone else. But the farther they run, the louder the world reminds them, you have a path. Cayce said, the destiny of the chosen is always full of turning points. They may lose everything and start from zero. They may be rejected, judged, called insane. But each time after the fall they rise stronger, because inside them burns a fire that cannot be extinguished. Edgar Cayce said, a chosen soul is never invisible. Even if a person tries to hide, fate still pushes them into the light. It is not always a stage, applause, or fame. Sometimes it is a chance meeting, one word, one action that changes someone else's life. Sometimes it is a glance that gives hope. But a trace always remains. Have you noticed that events around you line up like a chain? You try to live quietly, but life throws challenges again and again. You think, why me? But the answer is simple. Your soul must go through this. The harder the trial, the higher the purpose. Cayce said, the chosen often feel loneliness. Even in a crowd, they sense they do not fully belong to this world. They may have friends, family, love, but deep inside a voice whispers, I am different. I am here temporarily. This is not pride. It is the memory of the soul that knows its home is beyond the veil. One of the signs of the chosen is a strange destiny. Their life is rarely smooth. It is full of coincidences that look like accidents, but in truth it is a pattern. People appear at the right moment, numbers repeat, events line up as if someone invisible is guiding you. The world speaks to you directly if you are ready to listen. But along with this comes inner struggle. The chosen find it hard to accept themselves. They fear seeming strange. They hide their differences. But the more they resist, the more life reminds them, you have a path. You cannot run from your mission. Cayce claimed, the chosen live ahead of time. Their ideas come earlier than society is ready to hear them. They speak of things that become obvious only years later. They may be misunderstood, rejected, even condemned. But this is another sign. A soul that came from the future is always foreign to the present. Have you ever woken from a dream and felt it was more real than life itself? You saw faces you never met, cities not on any map, events that later happened in reality. Cayce said, the dreams of the chosen are doors. Through them they receive answers, sometimes warnings, sometimes memories of past lives, sometimes hints of the future. If your dreams leave a sense of mystery and unease, if they feel more important than reality, this is the language of your soul. Another sign is the sense of mission. You may not know what it is. You may search for it all your life. But the quiet voice inside always reminds, you are here for something greater. This voice cannot be silenced. It returns again and again. The longer you ignore it, the louder it becomes. Cayce warned, the world resists the chosen. Barriers rise before them. They are betrayed, misunderstood, rejected. But all this is only for one reason, to help them realize their strength is not in the external, but in the internal. True light does not depend on applause. It burns even when surrounded by darkness. There is another sign. Many chosen feel that they are older than their age. A child speaks like an adult. A teenager reasons as if they have lived hundreds of lives. An adult feels their soul is more ancient than the body. This is not illusion. This is the wisdom of a soul carrying the experience of ages. But wisdom is not only power, it is also burden. The chosen often suffer from illnesses, fatigue, melancholy that cannot be explained. Their body cannot bear the energy carried by the soul. Cayce said, this is the price of connection with the unseen. The soul takes on more than the body can handle. That is why he warned, the chosen must protect themselves. They tend to give too much. They save everyone but themselves. But light goes out if it is not guarded. The true strength of the chosen lies in balance, the ability to say no, the ability to preserve their fire. Cayce said, a chosen soul cannot dissolve in the material. It always seeks depth. It can enjoy earthly things, but it knows. This is not all. It is drawn to mysteries, to the stars, to questions that never let it rest. Edgar Cayce said, a chosen soul always encounters darkness. This does not mean their life must be nothing but suffering, but it does mean that light is tested only in the shadows. The brighter the soul, the stronger the shadow that tries to extinguish it. That is why the chosen go through periods of depression, emptiness, despair. They ask themselves, why am I alive? What is all this for? And it is in these moments that the most important decision is made. Will you surrender, or will you rise? Cayce claimed, darkness fears only one thing, awareness. As soon as a person understands that pain is part of the path, it stops being an enemy. It becomes a teacher. Every blow is a lesson. Every disappointment is a key. Even a fall leads upward if you are ready to learn. The main sign of chosen souls is compassion. They can make mistakes, get angry, argue, but deep inside they always feel the pain of others as their own. Sometimes it is heavy, sometimes they want to run away, but this is the very proof of their chosenness. A soul cannot be indifferent. It was created to feel. Have you noticed that sometimes you understand a person better than they do themselves? You look into their eyes, and you see that behind the smile hides sorrow. You hear their words, but you feel their heart is saying something else. This is the inner vision, as Cayce called it. This gift only grows stronger with time. Another sign is the thirst for truth. The chosen are never satisfied with superficial answers. That's how it's done, or everyone does it this way, does not suit them. They dig deeper. They seek the root. They tear down illusions. That is why they are often called inconvenient. But this is their mission, to reveal the truth, no matter how bitter it may be. Cayce warned, the chosen rarely fit into frames. Their life is unstable. They change jobs, cities, friends. They seem to be endlessly searching for their place. But this is not chaos. This is a search. The soul seeks the road that matches its purpose, and until it finds it, there will be no peace. The chosen also have another ability, to feel the approach of change. Sometimes it is a premonition, sometimes sudden knowing. You wake up in the morning and are certain, today something will change. And it really does. Cayce said, this is a connection with the flow of the future. The soul picks up what is not yet here, but here lies a danger. The chosen can get stuck in doubt. They see too many roads, too many possibilities, and then the fear of making a mistake paralyzes them. Cayce said, the greatest enemy of the chosen is their own mind. The heart always knows the way, but the mind confuses the tracks. Have you ever noticed that the world seems to speak directly to you? Random words of a passerby, writings on a wall, a song on the radio, and all of it answers your question. Cayce said, this is how spiritual connection works. The world whispers to those who are ready to listen. There is another important sign, a strange sense of time. For the chosen it is different. Sometimes days stretch endlessly, sometimes years fly by like a moment. They feel that life is not a line, but a circle, that everything has already happened and everything will happen again. This makes them wise but also lonely. Cayce claimed, if you are chosen, you will never feel fully at home on this earth. You will always feel something is missing. You will always be searching for the place where you truly belong. And that is the truth, because the real home of the chosen soul is beyond this world. But while you are here, you have a task. Every chosen soul carries light that others need. It may be one word that gives hope, one action that changes destiny, a simple presence that warms. Sometimes it is enough just to be near, for another person to believe in life again. And here lies the greatest secret. A chosen soul never fully knows itself through the recognition of others. People may not understand, may turn away, may not appreciate, but it does not matter. True recognition always comes from within. You must hear your own call. You must tell yourself, yes, I am different and this is my path. Edgar Cayce said, a chosen soul always knows that its time on earth is limited. It does not come for wealth or fame. It comes for the trace it will leave, for a single word, a single action that will change someone's life. Sometimes, the destiny of an entire generation. Sometimes, only of one person. But this is the mystery of the chosen. They are capable of changing the world, even when they themselves do not realize it. The main sign of a chosen soul is the knowledge that the world is greater than the visible. You look at the stars and feel, that is your true home. You hear silence and understand. This, too, is a conversation. You walk down the street and feel that someone unseen is guiding you. This is not fantasy. It is the memory of a soul that has lived thousands of times and has come again to pass through trials. Cayce warned, chosenness does not make life easy. It makes it deep. Such people have few who understand them, but they always carry light inside, and that light will not go out even when everything collapses, because the soul remembers. Darkness is an exam, and loneliness is preparation for meeting oneself. A chosen soul often doubts. It thinks, I am not worthy. I am too weak. I am mistaken. But doubt itself is the proof of being chosen. Darkness does not argue with those who belong to it. It argues only with those who resist. The most important thing is this: a chosen soul always hears the call, sometimes in a dream, sometimes through random words of a stranger, sometimes through a pain that gives no rest. This call will return again and again until the person accepts their role, and the longer they run from it, the louder it becomes. Cayce said, "You will know yourself, not by the words of others. You will know yourself by the fact that you cannot turn away from your mission, and in this lies the main secret. Chosenness is not defined by society's recognition, it is defined by your inner truth. Think about it. All the strange things that have happened to you. This is not chaos. These are signs. These are reminders that you are always more than you believed, that your life is a road leading to the moment when you will finally say to yourself, I am ready." You asked, why me? The answer is simple and frightening. Because your soul chose this path itself. It knew it would be difficult. It knew it would have to pass through pain, betrayal, and loss. But it also knew something else. You would have the strength. And if now your heart trembles, if these words feel as though they are addressed to you personally, if inside a feeling is born that all of this is true, then the answer has already been found. You are the chosen one, you always were. It is simply time to remember. And when one day you look back, you will understand. All doubts, all falls, all tears were not punishment. They were steps. They led you to where you were meant to be. And in that moment you will realize the truth of which Cayce spoke. The chosen never disappear. They always return, again and again, until they fulfill their purpose. And then you will understand. Everything you sought outside was always within. Everything you feared losing was always a part of you. And the light you carry, that is your gift to the world.